Alright, so I have a few things to cover before we get on to the tutorial. I am having issues with my camera and my software, so please bear with me and hopefully this won't come out too bad. Um, so the first thing on my list is the paper. I used the Prima Pumpkin and Spice papers. I used the 12 by 12 with the foil, and I used 3 pieces of each design. I believe there are 6 designs. Being cut. So this black gingham paper has the cut aparts on the other side. So you're going to reserve that first sheet to cut apart all these little cards and stuff. On one of the cards is this element right here that says Fall Y'all with the little circle shape. So I fussy cut that out, including all the little flowers that were leaves were sticking out. And I did use some multi-matte medium on that just to keep it stiff. But anyway, the rest of this is covered in the tutorial how to put it together. But my point is you're going to cut out of that first paper this particular element. Then this little bow that's on the top of that, you can see it here attached to this circle. From the second paper, I just cut out the bow only. Okay. Then I did that a couple other times. I did that on this page right here, this where it says fall and the little bow. I fussy cut that out and attached it to this paper. I just wanted a little extra dimension there. And then I did the same thing here. I cut this little section out, mounted it on chipboard, and attached it to the first piece that I cut out. All right, so for embellishments, I've used this die cut ephemera pack from Prima that matches the collection. I've also used some flowers that coordinate with the collection. And I have this 1.5-inch wide ribbon. It's kind of a crinkly crushed ribbon. And this is 28 inches long. I think I got it at really reasonable ribbon. And then I used this 1/2-inch wide ruffled white lace. And then this is some black fun fur fuzzy trim. And I've used this shabby trim here, so you can get any kind of shabby trim at Etsy. And this is just a cream ivory color, and then I stained this one in the Rusty Hinge by Tim Holtz. I've used 2 different types of twines, and I've used this brown twine that I got in the jewelry section at the craft store, and then this burlap twine from Really Reasonable Ribbon. It's ivory colored. I've used this satin ribbon in 1/8 of an inch wide, and then I also used it again right here, and it's stained in the Rusty Hinge. And then I've also used this cotton black string, and this I ended up using 2 different strands, so I tied it in a knot here on the end and then again in the knot here. And let's see, oh, the fabric is just some I had in my stash, and if you can't find this kind of a reddish autumn color, you could use a peach or a white and just change it up and make it your own. This is a 1/4 inch wide ribbon. I also have this rickrack going along the hat band, but you don't really see it, so I don't think you need it. And then I have this peach tattered lace, which I can't tell you where I got it from. It came in a package of a surprise bag of lace. but I have found something similar at Hobby Lobby. It's in the fabric section, sold by the yard as of October 1st, 2020. And then I've also used these stickers that I had in my word stash, and then all of the Reneabouquet products that I've used are listed in the description box below. So the video is edited in such a way that it seems like I completely embellished one page before I went on to the next, and that's not necessarily the case. Um, it's really hard to glue things onto a page when you have a big bulky broom on the other side with a bunch of lace. So um, I just kind of glued down the flat things first, and then went back and glued the more delicate embellishments on, such as the butterflies and the flowers. I just didn't want them to get ruined, so um, that's how I glued my book together. I would suggest that each section that you watch all of the way through before you start cutting or um, gluing, just to make sure that you know all the things that are going to happen. Most of the video is more of a process video. In other words, I had the camera on while I was working. So there's going to be some things that I do that I didn't actually glue on. I'm just placing it and seeing if I like it. Or I changed my mind, so I did something different. So just make sure that you watch each segment first before you actually glue anything together or cut anything. If you ever have any concerns or comments and questions on putting this album together, please contact me. You can post any questions or comments on this particular album on the Reneabouquets Facebook page or on the Instagram, or you can find me on my Instagram at OKCreate. And if you just find my post of this album, then you can ask your questions there. So please don't hesitate to do that. So one more thing about the order of putting the book together. Once I have the pages on, I did ink the chipboard. And so you can see here, let me get a different piece that's easier to pick up. This here has the black ink along the edge. So you can see that I did sand the pages down and I left it that way. So it's kind of got that white edge where I sanded. But I just wanted to add a little more Halloween element. And so I added the black there, and I did not use a stamp pad to do that because it just really wouldn't give you the same effect. I'd get too much ink everywhere. So I just took a brush marker and just went over those edges. And let's see. And then the next thing I did after I inked, oh, and I also inked my papers as well. So I inked the ephemera that I cut out because I cut the white off the ephemera pieces. And let's see if I can find a good example of that. Well, this one you can see that I inked around that piece that I cut out. And then on the cover, you can see here I cut the white off of the ephemera pieces and I inked those in black. This is inked in black. It just gives it a little bit more definition. Plus I wanted the black in there with the Halloween. And then once everything was inked, then I went ahead and put the twine on all of my pages. I've pretty much just glued the twine around the stem, and I didn't just tie it, I glued it because I wanted it to have that shape where it kind of dips down. If I just tied it on, it would have went straight across there. So I just lined the glue and then glued that string on where I wanted it to go. And then I did the bows separate. I glued the bows on separate. So, and I just wanted to talk about the embossing just a little bit. Um, and this is the last thing. So on the embossing, and I did mention this in the tutorial, but there's one thing that I didn't mention is that on the pumpkins, I embossed everything all at the same time. So I used different colors as if I were painting it. So I inked the stems and the vines with black, and then I sprinkled with the aged gold, and the leaves I sprinkled with the or pretty much poured it all on with the blue, shabby blue. And then the pumpkins I either did in white or pink, but I did it all at once because if you try to do it separate, then when you heat if the heat gets on what you've already done, it's just going to melt it off and cause a big, ugly disaster. So just emboss it all at once. Just and if you spill over, it doesn't matter. You can see I got a little bit of white on the vine here, and on this one I got a little bit of white on the vine here as well. That's okay, I kind of like that. I got a little bit of pink up here on the stem, and then that leaf there hardly has any blue on it because it got a little bit pink on it, but that's okay. That's kind of the nature of the thing. You don't want any of them to look picture perfect. So that is it, guys. I don't think I have anything extra little thing. At least I hope I've covered everything. And like I said, if I need to address anything, please just don't hesitate to contact me. All right, so we'll get on to the main part of the tutorial.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me, we're meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me were meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me were meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell.
Okay, so I am missing a segment of video, so this is a quick talk through of how I completed page 3. So I was starting to make the pocket on the front of the fold out, and I didn't want to lose the pink background, so I cut a piece of scrap paper in the pink that is 2 inches tall and 4 7/8 inches wide, because if you remember, I did trim an 1/8 of an inch off the end here. And then before I glued the pocket on, I made sure my string was just glued on, just a little section of string glued on right there so it wouldn't interfere with the pocket. And then the other string is glued back here on the back. So yeah, you have to finish your pocket before you put it onto your album. And then make sure that your strings are long enough. This one ended up being too short. I've got too scissor happy. But anyway, then once the string is glued on the front, then I glued the pocket down on the 3 edges here. Gluing the stuff on the cover or on the front, you want to make sure that you have, because it's overhanging the pocket, so you want to make sure you have like a piece of acetate or a sheet from a score tape sheet or something that you can put behind there, and it won't stick to your design paper when you're glue, in case the glue spills over. I glued this fussy cut pumpkin first, this white one, and I fussy cut a little sunflower, glued it here, and then this coffin and this one, and then they're kind of glued together because this one's kind of tucked in partially in front of this one or behind it, whatever you want to say. And then these little sunflowers are also fussy cut out and glued on just to add a little more dimension. I'm going to go ahead and take this time to give you some better measurements for the coffin pieces. So I'll do this one, then we'll go back to the previous page. So this one is cut a little bit different proportion than the rest because I wanted to accommodate this design on the ephemera. This is one of the ephemera pieces. So I'm going to give you the measurements instead of the entire measurements. This time I'm going to give you the measurements for the design paper. So this one is 1 5/8 inches wide, and I believe it's 2 5/8. And then this top part here is 7/8, and so the bottom is probably also 7/8. Anyway, and then of course you just make your angles from there if you're hand cutting. But if you're using the electronic cutting machine and you stick in the height, then hopefully the rest is pretty good. This coffin and the one on with the little scarecrow on it is the same size, and so this one's 1 inches wide, 2 inches tall, and the little top and bottom sections are 1/2 of an inch. And this little tiny one is 1.5 inches tall, and I'm not really sure how wide, probably 3/4, and the little top part is, I don't know, 3/8 maybe. Not really sure. You'll have to play around with that one. I don't have the template anymore. Then of course glue your scarecrow on, and these little flowers in the trim, they are overhanging that a little bit, but I don't mind. So that's it for the instructions for the rest of page 3. Okay, so I just wanted to show you my little sample or my trial run of my candy corn fold out. I cut this on my silhouette, and it is 3 3/8 of an inch tall, and at the widest point 3 inches wide. So that was the measurements that I wanted. I wanted it to be a chunky candy corn, and then it is rounded on all the sides. It doesn't have a straight edge, so that's why I did the ribbon hinge. So I placed this like angel wing style kind of, and then there's a 1/16 of an inch space in between there so that the pages don't rub together when you're folded out. And then I've got my score tape 1/4 of an inch from the edge, and that's because my design paper does not go all the way to the edge, and I don't want that tape exposed. So I've got my tape there and there, and then I took 2 3/4 inch this way ribbon, and this is about 1/4 of an inch thick, but anyway, 3/4 of an inch this way, and just laid them across like that, and that's all there is to it. And then this just, it's going to be a loosey-goosey, but that's okay. I think once it's in the book, it's a lot better. And then just just a little reminder that before you glue your book down or your fold out down, make sure you've added your ribbons. So I've got the ribbon behind here and then the ribbon underneath this design paper here. Okay, so I realized on this part I was off camera, and so I just needed to come back and show you how I did the pattern on the front of the candy corn fold out. And I did cut out about I did cut out 4 pieces of paper. I wasn't sure which ones I wanted to use. I only needed 3, but um, anyway, so these are what I have left. So these are not the correct order in which I used them, but this is what I have left. And you should actually have, if you cut out 3 design papers, you'll have enough to do 3 candy corns just in different configurations. So what I did is, and now this is the size of the insets. So this size here. So you have that little bit of black showing all the way around. And then what I did is I just lined them all up together and make sure you attach them. Use a bulldog clip or some washi tape or something to keep them together. And then I had just in pencil drawn the lines where I wanted to cut. And then I just cut all of them together at the same time so they would all be exactly the same. And then I just played around with the designs until I got the ones that the way that I wanted to do. So I ended up doing this pattern in the middle. And so anyway, that's how I did that, and we'll go from there. All right, so I'll have to talk you through page 1 since I can't find the original video. So the first thing that we need to do is to make a pocket. So from the peach colored paper, you will cut a pocket that is 3 inches wide by 3 1/4 inches tall. And the gingham paper is 2 1/2 by 2 5/8 inches. And then I just used my 1 3/4 punch to make a little notch in the middle of the pocket. Now you don't have to do that, that's just optional. Now before I glued anything on, I wanted to make my pocket with hinges on the sides because this photo mat is kind of thick. So I just wanted to make sure there was room in there for photos and stuff as well. And the photo mat is 2 thicknesses of paper. I've got the green on one side and this plaid on the other. And so this is 2 1/2 by 3 inches tall. And then I just poked a hole and added some trim. So anyway, I wanted to make sure that this was going to have room, and so I'm just going to walk you through this, the process of putting hinges on the side. So this was one that I was going to use, but I decided it was too short. So of course I used black hinges, not yellow, but this is much easier to see. So your hinge is going to be approximately 2 1/4 inches long. If that's too long, just make it shorter. Just cut off a piece and make it shorter. And basically you're just going to glue one side, and then this side's going to go down on the page. And so I'll do this one with you. So I'm just going to glue one side of the hinge. And it's gonna go, the folded side's gonna go on the edge or the side of your paper. So the folded side's out, the other side will be in. And there I have a hinge for my pocket. That just gives me a little extra room. I didn't put a hinge on the bottom. I just didn't feel like I needed to do that. I just didn't want too much bulk. I just needed enough room to put a photo on my photo mat. So I just put a line of glue on the bottom of the pocket. And oops, now you gotta get glue on the other side of your hinge. Oh, I almost forgot the glue. That's funny. And then you're just gonna glue that down onto your page. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the order of everything again that goes on the page. So the first thing that we do after we've made our pocket is to wrap our twine around the stem of the pumpkin, and then I made separate bows and glued one on each side of the page. Then I glued the black gingham paper onto my notched and hinged pocket. Then I glue my pocket onto the page. Then I glue my embossed spider web onto the page, and it is overlapping the pocket. And I glued that on with the tag inside the pocket. That way the spider web knows that it needs to go up and over. Plus I'm not gluing it down so tight that it's going to be hard to stick my tags in later. Then once my spider web and my pocket is on, then I am going to put my ephemera piece on. This is from the ephemera pack. All I did was round the corners, and I did layer it or pop it up, and it needs to be popped up enough so it's going to overlap the corner of that spider web and just fit nicely. So I ended up covering it with the flower, so you can do it however you want if you're going to cover it up anyway. But anyway, if it's not going to end up being covered up, that's how I did it. Once that is done, then pretty much it's just decorating like you see here with your flowers, your broom, your butterfly, and your spider. And that's it for page 1. This is the end of my tutorial. You guys, thanks for joining me and sticking with it all this time, and make sure that you like this video and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can join me for my upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching and have a happy Halloween. Bye.